Hi, good morning everyone. Today we're doing an annual review for John Johnson. My name is Hannah Broaddus and I will be facilitating the meeting. If everyone can please go around and say their name and who they are for the IEP team. Thank you. It's so great to have everyone here today. Everyone is a valued member of John's IEP team, and we would like to hear anyone's concerns or questions throughout this meeting. I want to ask Mrs. Smith if you've received the procedural safeguards or have any questions about the procedures. No? Okay. We will move on to discuss John's strengths. John is a creative student. He really enjoys rap music. He's friendly and outgoing, and he seems to make friends pretty easily. When John wants to, he's able to do very well in class and complete assignments. He's motivated by receiving incentives, and he also has reported to really enjoy gym class, especially basketball. John currently receives instruction, special education services in all academic subjects here at Haber Oaks. He benefits from repetition, assignments broken down into chunks, and multi-sensory approaches. He also benefits from having copies of notes provided for him. John's primary category of eligibility is specific learning disability. It was previously determined to have the following areas of eligibility: reading, written expression, math problem solving, and receptive and expressive language. All students at Haber Oaks complete a literacy assessment at the beginning of every year. John took his on 8/23/21. His scores show that he was a multisensory learner. His favorite subject is gym, and his least favorite subject is math. Per the San Diego Reading Assessment, John has a 3rd grade independent reading level, a 4th grade instructional reading level, and a 5th grade frustration level. When assessed with a 9th grade reading level comprehension assessment, he scored 30% accuracy. John will have a reading and writing goal, which we will cover later on in this meeting. There is no support required of OT and PT, and there's no concerns regarding his motor abilities at this time. Per previous testing, John's greatest areas of needs are recalling sentences, understanding spoken paragraphs, following directions, and word definitions. He benefits greatly from sentence model starters and verbal models to proofread his sentences. John has had a history of truancy, and this has greatly impacted his education. When he is in attendance, teacher observations report that he struggles to remain on task. He also may be distracted by his Chromebook. Since starting at Haber Oaks, however, John has been reported to be more respectful to staff than previous records indicate. He's had some verbal exchanges with students, but has been redirected by staff. And he is easily redirectable by staff if a negative behavior were to occur. John needs supports in areas of self-management and self-monitoring skills. And we will discuss that later on during our social work related service part of our meeting. John currently has a C in English, a C in algebra, a D in access class, a B in math skills, a C in English skills, and a D in world history. We were unable to receive parent input at the time of this meeting, so Mrs. Smith, would you like to add anything to what we previously have said about John? Thank you so much. Next, we'll talk about John's transition plan, and Kristen Geo, his case manager, will be talking about this. Thank you, Kristen. Next, we'll be talking about teacher input. We've spoken to John's teachers, and they've reported that when John is present, he is charismatic and a fun person to have in their class. He sometimes needs directions repeated to him, but he does eventually comply and get his work done. Teachers have also reported that his phone can be a distraction in the classroom. John is very friendly and gets along with his peers, and is even known as the welcoming committee in one of his classes. He was very friendly and welcoming to a new student at Haber Oaks. Next, we're going to review the goals and present levels. His case manager, Kristen Geo, will talk about his present levels. Thank you, Kristen. Judith Landis, the school psychologist, will now speak about John's goal of transition. Thank you, Judith. And does any other related service provider want to add to the current present levels? Thank you so much. Next, we'll be talking about the goals that will be for this next IEP. For a reading goal, given explicit instruction with reading strategies, John will utilize multiple strategies such as visualization, inferring, predicting, and summarizing before, during, and after reading the text with 90% accuracy by his annual review. For written expression, his annual goal is given explicit instruction on writing pattern, structure, and editing. John will write or type for a variety of purposes such as diagrams, learning logs, journals, note-taking, outlines, and summaries in order to increase his comprehension of the topic learned to 80% accuracy. John's math goal is by annual review, John will solve equations and inequalities with one variable. Next, we will discuss accommodations. John will receive extra time, 1.5 times the amount of time, for both classwork and assignments and assessments in all subjects. He will receive graphic organizers for classwork in all subjects. Larger assignments will be broken down into smaller chunks for both classwork, assignments, and assessments in all subjects. John will receive math resources in math for both classwork, assignments, and assessments. And John can choose to have the text read aloud to him for assessments and tests in all subjects. Now we will be talking about related services. John has both speech and social work minutes. So Ms. Eichelman is our speech pathologist. Would you like to talk about John and the work with him? Thank you so much. He also has social work minutes. Ms. Veidelman, would you like to add? Thank you. Next, we'll be discussing placement and least restrictive environment. And this will be discussed by our LEA, Judith Landis. Thank you. Next, we'll discuss ESY, which is extended school year. John is eligible for ESY for skill maintenance and credit recovery. This is to prevent loss of skill and long periods of recoupment during the next school year. Next, we'll talk about transportation. John receives transportation to and from school each school day. Next, we will review notes. And this will be done by our LEA, Judith Landis. Does anyone have any questions or concerns regarding anything that we've discussed today? Thank you for sharing your questions. And that concludes our IEP meeting. I want to conclude this video by providing an explanation about how I would actively listen to address the needs of families and other stakeholders throughout the meeting. I would present the families and stakeholders with the agenda. This would allow the meeting to run smoothly and also give them an idea of what we're going to talk about. At the beginning of the meeting, I share with the stakeholders and families that they are valuable members of the IEP team. Their input is valued, and I want to make sure that they feel that they have a voice in this meeting. I would stop after each section and ask if there was any questions or concerns regarding that section. If a question or concern was brought up, I would actively listen to the family or the stakeholder and then reiterate what they said so that they know and I know that I understand what they're asking and what their concern is. If I thought that a question or concern might be addressed later in the meeting, or some questions might be answered if we waited, I would ask the family or stakeholder to please wait until we got to a certain section and then address their concern at that point. Thank you very much for watching this video.